Welcome to the RGV Week 5 football podcast. I am Brian Sandalo, and I am joined, as usual, by Todd Orodanker, our 35A writer, and Dennis Silva, our 32-4A guy. Unfortunately, Monitor Sports editor Peter Rasmussen had better things to do. I mean, I can't imagine what he'd have better to do than talk football with us. But anyways, we're here to talk about football, and the season's already almost halfway done. And I think we agreed one of the big stories in Valley football this year is the crazy, chaotic, incredibly tough to predict. The meat grinder, that's the word.
That's what people call it, the meat grinder.
31-5A. Last week, I'll just be honest, I picked 3 of the 4 games wrong. That's kind of a theme.
You're usually wrong.
I am usually wrong about everything, but this one, this district definitely. Todd, I know you cover 35A.
Close.
Right. Yeah. Your district has a pretty set hierarchy, a top 3.
There is a hierarchy, yeah.
Dennis, 32-4A, seems like it has its haves and have-nots, but 31-5A.
Everybody's good except for
what the heck's going on
PSG,
here?
Yeah. It's as we had expected it to be before the season. Everybody looked at this district. Oh, it's tough to figure out who's the top team. A lot of people at San Benito. Well, they're 1-2 right now?
Yeah.
Lost to McAllen-Rowe. Nobody saw that coming. McAllen-Rowe's a decent team, though. They returned a lot of players from last year. And
they score a lot of points.
They score a lot of points, and they got going. So, they're 1-2. PSG Memorial, another consensus district pick. A lot of people had them. They're 1-2. And then Wesco, which stunk for the first 2 weeks, couldn't score.
I have a question, maybe even a theory.
Yeah.
Was Tony V playing possum with everybody? Was he kind of just not showing everybody his what he really had?
He did get a contract extension before the year.
Right.
So he didn't necessarily have to win the Donna game in order to keep everybody happy.
Or the Ed Couch game. Which was a huge rivalry, by the way, at one point.
Yeah, that's true. The Donna game, and it was at home, so I don't know.
Was he playing possum? You covered him. You used to cover 32-5A. He was in 32-5A. Is it something he might do to say that, just probably, not showing people what he had?
Absolutely, probably, definitely. He mentioned that not a million times from last year. They had a spread that they went to at certain points last year that they rarely, if ever, brought out. They didn't execute it amazingly well because they didn't use it a lot, but they brought it out at the end of a Week 10 game against Brownsville Pace that they wound up losing back when Brownsville Pace had an actual varsity team.
Right.
And unfortunately for the kids and everything. But last year they brought out the spread on the final possession. They wound up coming about 5 yards short, and then they used that in the playoff game against Memorial, I think, a little bit later, but they wound up losing that game too. So he does have a couple of tricks that he likes to keep up his sleeve, and it's possible that he just kept it to that slot T stuff for the first 2 games, and then
43-10 against PSG Memorial. That's one of the surprise, results of the year. And
the whole PSG Memorial at 10 points.
And we're overlooking their Wesco brethren. Wesco East 35, Mac High 7. No, did you see that coming, Dennis? I mean, there's no way I did.
I don't think anyone saw that coming. Just one of those. I mean, this district is kind of, in a way, typical of the Valley in that no one's come out as a clear-cut favorite, and it's one of those.
The last couple years, though, with the alignments, 31-5A was obviously Harlingen was going to be your favorite. 35A, it was going to be
Sharyland
or Memorial.
And McAllen Memorial. Yeah.
Right. 32-5A, as long as you didn't have Brownsville,
Wesco was pretty good.
Wesco, San Benito, and Harlingen. I mean, but this district, and that's right. Yeah. But this district this year, I mean, I don't know.
There's
what's going on here? I mean,
San Benito and PSG Memorial could easily both wind up missing the playoffs.
It's very. I mean, look at the records. I think PSG High is going to struggle.
Yeah.
PSG High is going to have a tough time winning one game.
New program, new system. Not a lot of. They had a tough year last year. Rich Lucero it's going to be a little bit before he gets
you just look at. It's just fascinating. It's like it's Pete Rozell's dream come true.
It is. It is, and it's unfortunate for a lot of the kids and a lot of the coaches and everything because if you had some of these teams in other districts, 30, even 32.
Oh, especially 32.
Especially 32. Some of these teams would definitely be playoff teams in other districts.
I think Wesco East is probably a playoff team, and definitely in 35A, and
definitely,
I think quite possibly in 32.
Edinburgh North and Edinburgh Academides could speak differently to that. They might.
We'll see how those teams hold up.
Academides did beat McAllen Memorial.
That's true.
Let's keep that in mind.
Who knows?
So, Academides proved, and then Edinburgh North beat Edinburgh Academides, so both those teams proved that they could beat McAllen Memorial. McAllen Memorial beats San Benito. San Benito beats PSG Memorial. I mean, you keep going into this.
We could talk about this for days because I'm fascinated by this district. To be honest, I find it absolutely that you have 8 really quality teams.
Yep, and 4 are just going to be absolutely getting the job because 4 are probably good enough to go to the playoffs, but they ain't going.
And yet, here's maybe going to segue now into our top 10 debate. Yeah. Looking at it right now, I didn't even realize this when I was making the top 10 on Monday. Figuring it out. There's no team in there's no team in the top 10 in that district except for Weslaco at 8 and Mackay tied for 9. Dennis, you're not a voter in the top 10 yet. I'm sure you will be next season.
Yeah.
What do you think of this top 10? I mean, it's kind of
you don't have to vote. So
you can let it rip. Yeah. Let it rip. You see how we vote.
If you saw my ballot, I did not have.
I did not have Harlingen either. But remind everybody, it's Sherryland 1, Donna 2, Edinburgh North 3, Harlingen South 4, Mission High 5, Harlingen 6, Los Fresno 7, Weslaco 8, Mackay and Edinburgh Academies tied for 9th. So Dennis, let it rip.
I think two things I saw right offhand is what a jump Mission made from 10 to 5 right away. Although, I mean, that's a quality team. I think Harlingen is a bit too high at 6. Again, it's going to be hard. They're going to keep winning. They have a cupcake schedule, but we have to remember what we saw against them against real competition, so to speak. And I think they're a bit high. Mercedes could get in. Veterans, I know it was in there, and San Benito. It's rankings. It's one of those things where we just.
They're fun to talk about.
Yeah, they are fun to talk about.
And a lot of people love talking about them. And it's not even fair. It's not fair to 31.58 yet because we don't know. I mean,
it's a good thing that these rankings don't really matter at all. And it's not like the NCAA,
where you get a bowl game or something.
Where you determine who goes to the national championship, even though they're kind of getting rid of that going forward, but. It's a good thing these don't matter because I vehemently disagree with most of this top 10. It's a lot different than what was with mine. I mean, Harlingen has beaten 2 Brownsville schools, has lost to San Benito, and yet they're ranked 6th, and San Benito is out of the poll.
Yeah, I think that
doesn't make any sense.
I think you can make an argument that Harlingen is in the top 10. I'll probably put them back next week. I mean, they've gone back and forth.
If they beat Los Fresnos, I didn't have Los Fresnos in mine either. I didn't have San Benito. I didn't have Los Fresnos or Harlingen in mine. Whoever wins that game, they probably have an argument.
I just think that going back to the 31.58 thing, it's very hard to look.
You have to weight the losses a little bit differently.
Because this is a very difficult district.
At the same time, Los Fresnos lost to a San Antonio team, and they lost to San Benito, so they haven't lost to cupcake teams. Los Fresnos did only beat PSG High by 3 points. That win's a win, but that weighted a lot on me because I'm looking at some of the other teams in 31.58 who have taken care of PSGA, and Los Fresnos, meanwhile, only beat them by field goal. So to me, that's a little bit of a sign right there. It's only one game. You can't judge a team on one game. But
interesting also, by the way, good to see Harlingen South back up.
That's
that's a program I think
but are they really the 4th best team? I mean, I actually had them at number 4 because I couldn't think of anything else. They had an impressive win over McAllen Rowe, close loss to PSG Memorial.
Right, that win over McAllen Rowe is looking better and better.
Yeah, and they had these very comfortable blowout wins over Brownsville
and
schools.
Good to see. And by the way, good to see that that this is spreading the top 10 across the whole valley. By the way,
because
we don't want to see other than Harlingen. It's kind of tends to be concentrated up here. You don't want to see that. You want people.
The Harlem South's going to move up to number 3 because Donna and Edinburgh North are playing.
And Donna, we're going to. Boy, you're good at segues.
They're playing each other.
You are fantastic at segues now.
So somebody's going to lose.
Now, Todd, would you say that's a game to watch in your district?
Not at all.
No.
Okay, it's one of the. It's another big game in 35. With these top 3 or 4 teams, there's generally about one big game per week, and this is Donna and Edinburgh North right now. It's a really big one, and you have a do-it-all Donna team that does everything pretty well against Edinburgh North, which is defense and ball control and doing these little things right and playing field position and all that kind of stuff. And Donna can stop you inside the 5, force a turnover. Donna can go 99 yards and score. So it's going to be very interesting to see how.
Yeah, but 8-3 last week, Edinburgh North. I mean,
it was not pretty. Roy Garza was not hiding from that fact. It was not pretty. Their offense couldn't get anything going.
I mean, what?
It's a city rivalry game. That's the only thing you can really excuse Edinburgh North from this. That they're playing, a city rival in Edinburgh High, and those kids know each other. You have to throw the records out the book.
Edinburgh High is kind of been
bad.
I guess cut off at the knees too. I mean,
they have been by the Vela zoning and everything. Yeah. Those 2 teams are playing each other, so that should be an interesting game on Friday from an outside perspective.
Yeah, as long as I'm not there watching or covering it, that'll be.
I don't know if it's going to mean anything in the standings, but
when I see the result, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'll just be glad I'm not there. Now, Dennis, your district has another very interesting game between 2 teams I think may very well figure in the district championship race. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
As you'll explain.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Ed Couch also goes off to Mission, as we said, they're number 5. That'll be a good one. Mission's undefeated, just on a roll right now. That defense is something else. Their offense has been able to air it out a little bit too, so that's been a nice surprise. And Ed Couch Elsa, we talk about their struggles off the field, and right now there's no set date for their meeting with the SEC to appeal the ruling for the forfeiture of the season, but that's an offense that's coming around too, putting up more than 400 yards last week against Roma, and also, of course, that defense is tough and physical too. So that's another tough one. I mean, I thought Mercedes, Ed Couch, and Mission all right there for the district title. It'll come down to those three, I think.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if Ed Couch didn't have this mess going on, we'd be talking about them.
They'd be in the top 10.
They would be in the top 10.
I wonder, I mean, we haven't even, I'll be honest, we haven't even figured out what to do with Ed Couch in the top 10.
If they win this game, you got to give it consideration.
Yeah, if they win this game, certainly, I mean, I assume Mission drops maybe even out, and maybe Ed Couch. I mean,
let's think positive. Ed Couch will move up.
That's true. Ed Couch
will get a vote. I think with the top 10, you have to. I'm not moving teams up simply because they won or anything. You have to pretty much look at it each week completely independently because the quality of wins changes week by week, and
you don't know.
Yeah, you just don't know with these teams because everybody except for maybe Sherilyn and Donna appear to be maybe the two best teams, but you can't even argue that.
You don't know that.
You don't even know that yet because 31's so jumbled.
Let's see what those teams will do against 31. Yeah. Although Donna got the Wessico win.
That's true. They did, yeah.
But now, one more game to watch. I think a very yes. You stole my line.
Stole your line.
Harlingen, Los Fresnos. This is when we finally see what Harlingen really is. I think.
And Los Fresnos.
And Los Fresnos. I mean, this very interesting game. I think Harlingen has to win this game.
So does Los Fresnos.
No, I don't think because Los Fresnos. Not the same expectations, not the same chip on their shoulder, not the same target in their back, I guess.
After covering that team for 2 years, there absolutely is the same expectations as Harlingen.
Yeah, that's true. You are more familiar with that area.
Maybe not to the whole Valley scene because they haven't been in the Los Fresnos since Scott Ford left, and you had the Springers and Mario Benavides and all those guys going there.
Well, I think I was on a plane with once, by the way.
Terrific story.
Yeah.
Los Fresnos, and for Coach Clint Finley in his third year now,
kind of needs to make a move, right?
They need to make a move. As a program. Things could get if they need to start winning some playoff games and win some district titles to keep everybody happy and keep everything going.
That's the one of those situations you kind of keep an eye on.
It's a one-school town. Things get a little crazy there. He knows it. Everybody knows it. They got to start winning. They have massive expectations there. That'll be a really good game.
That's going to be quite the game. Great atmosphere too. Those teams have met. Those teams.
Packed, I imagine a packed house. It's not a far drive for Los Fresnos people to get up there, and that's kind
of. Bogus isn't huge either.
And Bogus is not huge, and Los Fresnos people are kind of. They look at their schedules, all Brownsville games, and they say, okay, here's Harlingen. So this is the game everybody's kind of excited
Harlingen still has the the big star on them. They're still
a little bit, and they're angry at the last game. I was there for that, the playoff game last year, and that was not even cloud over.
Is there a revenge factor in that?
So many players are gone from Harlingen,
but you still see that Cardinal.
There's a few Los Fresnos kids that were on that team.
Striding Cardinal on there. I could see why you'd want to punch it.
The Falcon. Who would win a war between a Falcon and a Cardinal?
A Falcon, clearly. A Falcon would.
Are the Falcons going to win this game then?
No.
Not the Cardinals.
Harlingen will win this game, and I will be putting them back in my top 10.
They can make a move. Yeah, this game I think won't decide the district. You can't say it'll decide
the
district title.
The Bird Bowl's decide the district title.
South has a claim in this.
The South has a real good claim.
And South plays Harlingen week 9, and then Los Fresnos week 10.
That's going to be a fun. That'll be a meat grinder.
That week 9-10 situation will be a meat grinder.
Yeah.
32-5 is not there yet. But.
No, but you know what? We don't want to be talking about that game until later, and this is a great time for us to say farewell for the night or day whenever you're listening. I'm Brian Sandalo, Todd and Dennis both thank you for listening, and we'll holler at you next week.